What up, people? It's your boy Chip from Guna Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it's to preview the Croatia versus Nigeria game. Big game for us. These are the type of teams that realistically, if we have any ambition to try and by some miracle finish second in this group, we have to get something out of Croatia. Realistically, I think the best we can hope for is a draw in this situation, fluke some sort of win against Iceland, and who knows if by some miracle we could do. It's not like we don't have form against Argentina. We do. The last time we played them, we beat them 4-2. And they had some of their big guns. All right, they didn't have Messi, but they had the rest of their big guns. So we are capable. But here's the thing. Messi and Ronaldo are almost turning this into a public competition between the two. So the World Cup, they're turning the World Cup into a public competition between the two. So you almost have to write off the Argentina game. So this is a game we must take something from, because if we don't take anything from it, the pressure it puts us under when we play Iceland and Argentina. And Nigerians are not good when we have pressure. In fact, we tend to get big results from these teams because we don't have pressure. We're expected to lose. And that's how we get the kind of positive results or the freak results that we are very capable of doing. Every year there's always an African team that surprises everybody. Quite frankly, our continent has not got off to a good start. Egypt lost, Morocco lost. So it's down to us, really. We got to do something. We got to put a point on the board for Africa. And let's start with Croatia. They've got threats everywhere. Very good unit. Got a lot of good players. This is going to be a really difficult game. Remember, this is the same team that have Modric, Perisic, Brozovic. They're an amazing side. And it actually depresses me how good they are. And they work as a good unit. Coupled with the fact that we also have a 19-year-old as our number one. Yeah, remember that shaky goalkeeper that played against England? Francis Zohu. He's our number one goalie. He plays for Deportivo. Only had a couple of first team appearances. He played a lot in Deportivo's third team, their youth side, essentially. What can you say? I mean, it is what it is. This ain't Arsenal here. As bad as I like to think, Arsenal are still considered a top team. So the sort of struggles that I go from supporting a top team in Arsenal to supporting, let's call a spade, potentially the whipping boys of the group in Nigeria. It's a vast difference, and it's the drop in quality that I have to get used to. I have to just accept that we're in a position where, for some unusual reason, we're playing a 19-year-old in goal in the World Cup. It makes no sense to me. I'm not a fan of it, but I can honestly say I've never been a fan of Nigerian goalkeepers. I've never liked any Nigerian goalkeepers because they're not goalkeepers. They're just people who couldn't make it outfield. And I know a lot of people cynically say that about goalkeepers in general. When it comes to Nigeria, it could not be more the case. It's just people who couldn't make it outfield, and then they'll sling them in goal. Because let's be real, no one wants to be a goal. And in Africa, there ain't nobody that aspires to be a goalkeeper in Africa. Nobody. So it's just one of those things that I just have to accept and just have to hope our fragile defence holds out. We basically got 4 Mustafis at the back. So long past are the days where we had Taribo West and Joseph Yobos and people like that. So I'm going to lie, I'm a bit nervous going into this World Cup. And I'll be real, a lot of my nerves came from that England game because I saw how we played in the opening 20 minutes. I was like, what the fuck is this? Making England look like Brazil right now. What's going on? And that worried me. I ain't going to lie. Straight up, it unsettled me. Going into this World Cup, I was full of a lot of hope. And that opening 20 minutes made me worry. Because I tell you what, if we play like that against Croatia, we may as well not turn up for the rest of the other two games. Because what the fuck was that? To me, I just want us to go out there and represent ourselves properly. Represent ourselves with pride. John Obi Mikel, I'm not a fan of him. He is what he is, you know, former Chelsea player. I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of him. Before he moved to Chelsea, while he was at Chelsea, after he left Chelsea, I've never rated him as a player. He served a purpose while he was at Chelsea, but I don't think he's ever really served a purpose for Nigeria. I don't think he's ever played that well. And I know a lot of people think I'm being harsh with that. I've never been that impressed, to be honest. But he plays in the centre of the park for us. He's our captain, so I have to back him. For me, the player who has to show up, and this shows you how in dire straits we are, the player that has to show up has to be Alex Iwobi. He's the main man for us. I know you'll snigger and laugh at that, but let's call a spade a spade. We need him to get whatever is left of that JJ Okocha's skill and blood and put that in the team and produce. Quite frankly, if JJ Okocha still felt like it, I'd just give him a call and see if he feels like being in the squad. We need someone like that, just someone who can just be brave, be disciplined, because we're going to need some goals from somewhere. I don't trust this defence for shit. So we're going to need some goals, we're going to need some effort, and maybe, just maybe, not saying necessarily Alex Iwobi will score, but he has to be the creator. He's going to have to be, because if we're going with one up top, and I can understand why we would go with one up top, especially against Croatia and Argentina, it seems like Ighalo is the favoured one up top. Personally, I'd rather Iheanacho. I think Iheanacho is a much better, more rounded player. The only thing I would say about Iheanacho is he seems to be slower than Ighalo. And maybe the coach prefers Ighalo's pace. But I think Ighalo needs a partner, and I don't think he can lead the line by himself. Whereas I think Iheanacho has a little bit more nous and can bring players like an Iwobi, like a Moses into the team, which brings me on to another player that he needs to produce, and that is Moses. Moses is one of them real hit and miss type of players. Sometimes he feels like playing, sometimes he doesn't. This has to be one of those times where he feels like playing. He needs to be produced. He needs to cross the ball as much as possible, take on the man when it's appropriate. I personally would like to see Moses on the right-hand side, Iwobi in the middle. Not none of this Moses on the left bullshit. I don't want to see that, personally. And who knows, you know, this World Cup is made for surprising, for teams to surprise. And like I said, there's always at least one African team that produces at least a couple of surprising results. I'm not suggesting for 1 second we'll win this game. But if I'm going to be positive, let's go for a fucking 1-1. Let's really try it and make an effort and see if we can take these guys out. Because if we can get a point, not only does that give us some confidence being the first African team to register a point, but from our own World Cup perspective, it's a point more than we had. It's a point against one of the teams we weren't expected to get anything against. Then it sets us up going into the last two games in the group in a much better standing, particularly that Iceland game, where I would suggest that Iceland game, we must win that game. So let's see what happens. I'm not hopeful. I'm going to be watching the game through my cushions on my sofa and just cringing. It's going to be like a fucking horror film, I know it is. Particularly any time the ball goes near our goalkeeper or defence. But who knows, if we can get something, I'm going to back us to get a 1-1 draw. I know I'm crazy, but let's see. You guys let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments below. Also, people have asked me if I'm going to do a watch along. It seems to be a really successful thing with you guys doing the whole live streaming while I'm watching the game. And, you know, I may very well do that. I still haven't yet decided. Also, my computer has a slight problem and I've ordered something for it. So provided it arrives today, then sure, I'll do a watch along. So you guys stay tuned for that. I'll announce it on my Twitter, which is a good opportunity to plug my Twitter. My Twitter is @ColossalChig. The link is in the description below. Other than that, I'm out of here, people. So have a good Saturday. Take care. Come on, you Super Eagles. Let's go, motherfuckers. Niger, baby. Let's do this.